तो आई थिंक लास्ट हम लोग ने ये मे बी 2-3 साल पहले किया था और आज वही वापस मौका मिला है और सब लोग मिले हैं काफ़ी टाइम के बाद, तो सोच
और
रहे हैं
एक
कि क्यों ना और एक राउंड हो जाए।
नया मेंबर जुड़ा
और
है
नया
अपने
मेंबर
साथ।
भी है। हम नाम नहीं बताएंगे बट आप बातों से गैस कर सकते हैं, कमेंट में बताइए
के कौन जुड़ा
कि
है?
कौन जुड़ा है। बट क्या बात कर रहे थे
आज
हम
का
लोग?
टॉपिक क्या है? हाँ।
आज का टॉपिक वही, हम रैंडम इधर उधर की बातें करेंगे।
हाँ, बकवास थोड़ी
बट
करते हैं।
आई थिंक सबसे पहले जो हम शुरू करने वाले करंट, आजकल जो शोज मूवीज वगैरह देख रहे हैं तुम लोग, तो थोड़ा उसके बारे में बताओ कि पब्लिक को बताओ भाई, कुछ रिकमेंडेशंस वगैरह है तुमको लग रहा है कुछ कोई देखा हो अभी ढंग का? मैं शुरू
I
कर
think
सकता हूँ, हाँ
हाँ,
इर्शाद
you
शुरू
can
कर।
start. I think the show which I recently watched was like Scoop, or it is directed by Hansal Mehta, जिसने ये डायरेक्ट किया था स्कैम 1992। तो उन्होंने वापस लाइक ही हैज डायरेक्टेड लाइक वेरी ब्यूटीफुली। और सो बेसिकली द स्टोरी इज अबाउट अ जर्नलिस्ट who is falsely put into prison by the police. So we cannot disclose more details, but it's like it's based on true story. So that is like one of the shows that I watched recently and I liked.
आई ऑल्सो लाइक दैट वन
So
एक्चुअली,
if
बहुत अच्छा बना है।
if I may ask, why the show is called a scoop? There has to be some reason because I haven't watched
Yeah,
that
scoop
show.
means the headlines and all that they get, right? So it's basically
Page one,
let's say
basically.
when two people discuss, right, we say, oh, what's the tea or what's the gossip, right? So similarly it's like in journalism world it's called scoop. So the
Oh, so
big headline
that-
news that you get, it's called scoop
So the
basically.
lady who used to like what she used to do.
Oh, she was a
Reporting?
crime reporter. Yeah, she was a crime reporter. So the thing is, in journalism, every reporter wants to have their piece of story on the front page. So basically, it's like very competitive, and then
That's why.
yeah. So
Okay.
there's a lot of competition among them to get that scoop. So that's why the show is called Scoop.
ना डिफिकल्ट जॉब होगा, एवरी डे यू हैव टू कम अप विद समथिंग, हाँ, लाइक पेज वन, मतलब लाइक रिसर्च ये वो सब ऑल ऑन द स्पॉट, यू हैव टू गेट लाइक अ स्टोरी दैट
And I
पीपल
think,
विल बाय योर पेपर फॉर, राइट, लाइक सो।
In the show, there is one very good line which says that nowadays people don't want to know about things that are happening. People want entertainment through news. So आज के टाइम के हिसाब से अपन लाइक काफ़ी रिलेट कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज लाइक न्यूज़ हैज़ बिकम अ जोक, राइट? वी ऑल नो दैट इट्स नॉट अ रिलायंट सोर्स ऑफ ट्रूथ, इफ यू कैन से। तो yeah, it's based on that, so that's a pretty good show.
आई थिंक मैंने अभी जो एक लास्ट देखी थी मेरे को अच्छी लगी है, मैन कॉल्ड ऑटो, आई थिंक तूने रेकमेंड की थी
yeah,
वो वाली,
yeah.
Oh, I'm-
काफ़ी अच्छी मूवी
I
है।
still need to watch that, yeah.
तू आवाज़ भी निकालता है ना उसका?
Yeah, Otto.
What is it based on?
इट्स अ लाइट हार्टेड मूवी, मतलब उसमें ऐसा है कि बेसिकली जो मेन प्रोटैगनिस्ट है लाइक टॉम हैंक्स, वो उसको सुसाइड करना होता है क्योंकि उसकी जो वाइफ होती है वो मर गई होती है, तो ही डजंट वांट टू लिव एनी मोर। तो कैसे
उसको उसके पास जाना होता है
ही इज फेड अप
basically.
विद लाइफ एंड ही वांट्स टू बेसिकली
So उसके वो ग्रेवयार्ड
तो
पे
उसके
जाके बोलता है
आसपास-
कि आई वांट टू लाइक मैं आ रहा हूँ, आई एम कमिंग देयर।
Interesting.
तो वही है कि आसपास के लोग उसको कैसे चेंज करवाते हैं माइंड, उसे कम्युनिटी वाइज, हाउ ही फॉर्म्स कम्युनिटी विद नेबर, लाइक रिलेशनशिप विद नेबर्स एंड एवरीबॉडी। तो काफ़ी अच्छा था कंसेप्ट और बहुत लाइट हार्टेड थी। तो इट बेसिकली टीचेस यू टू लिव लाइफ एंड नॉट बी इन ग्रीफ फॉर एवर।
Oh, nice. Yeah, we can do one thing. We can just take rounds and we can just say like what genre of movies do we like or series do we like, and then any recommendation under that genre.
आई थिंक आई प्रेफर एनीथिंग एज लॉन्ग एज इट्स गुड।
Mhm.
तो वैसे कोई स्पेसिफिक
But like your top two.
या नॉट स्पेसिफिक, कुछ भी
Not
जो
specific.
भी
Yeah, so for me,
As long as
it's
story is
like,
good,
yeah, I
engaging.
like thrillers,
Thrillers.
or like action dramas. So
any thriller that you watched recently?
yeah, I watched this movie called Virupaksha.
Ah,
So it's
Tamil
basically
one.
kind of horror thriller.
You mentioned.
So that's a very good movie.
Hmm.
What about you?
I mean, of course, thriller first, and then action adventure.
Any
Yeah.
recommendations you have?
For adventurous, I recently watched this. What was that? Dungeon and Dragon.
Oh, okay.
What about Adi Purush?
So I really want to watch that movie. I mean, I heard so. I saw the reviews; they are amazing, man.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Bad
so,
I think you forgot to watch the teaser.
maybe.
हाँ नहीं मुझे भी देखनी है मतलब आई डोंट थिंक आई विल बी एबल टू सिट बिकॉज जो रिव्यूज़ देखे मैंने वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा नेगेटिव है तो सिट थ्रू तो नहीं कर पाऊंगा पूरा सेकंड हाफ स्पेसिफिकली मैंने सुना है बहुत ही घटिया
Okay.
बट लेट्स सी एटलीस्ट देखते हैं कैसा है बट बहुत किडिश बनाया है डायलॉग्स भी बहुत बकवास है ऐसे सब सुना है
Any upcoming movies that you guys are excited about?
एनिमल
Yeah, same. I also feel that is going to be
Ranbir
a good
Kapoor ka.
movie. And also the one that is directed by Karan Johar, Rocky
अच्छा,
and
Rocky
Rani
Rani,
Ki
हाँ,
Prem
Rocky
Kahaani,
Rani
because
वाला।
it has Alia Bhatt. and
मुझे आई
I
थिंक
think
आई एम लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू एसआर केस नेक्स्ट विद
Jawan.
जवान
Yeah,
खाली
that's also
डायरेक्टर
good.
ये जो okay.
खाली जवान बोल
जवान,
सितंबर में आ रही है हाँ तो
Wow.
पहले जून में आने वाली थी
Trailer release हुआ है
It's
कि
not
नहीं?
out yet.
Trailer और
No.
teaser no.
टीजर हुआ
Teaser आया
टीजर आया था हाँ बट
I don't know. बाकी
तो अभी मूवी से आई थिंक दूसरा टॉपिक जा सकते हैं जो हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे राइट कि थॉट एक्सपेरिमेंट्स का कि लेट्स से अगर मैं तुम्हें 100 मिलियन दे रहा हूँ और मैं तुमको बोलूँ कि तुम्हारे पास चॉइस है टू चेंज वन प्रॉब्लम इन दिस वर्ल्ड यू पिक वॉट एवर इट कैन बी राइट लाइक क्लाइमेट चेंज या जो भी तुम्हें लगता है कि दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है अभी और तुम इसे सॉल्व कर सकते हो तो कौन सा करोगे
I think 100 million will be too less for it.
नहीं
To
मतलब
solve
लेट्स
any
से
problem.
आई गिव यू व्हाटएवर यू आस्क फॉर लाइक
Infinite resources you have,
resources.
your power, your everything. maybe.
एवरीथिंग सब कुछ है तुम्हारे पास रिसोर्सेज मनी वाइज एवरीथिंग
I think I'll solve hunger problems, especially for countries in Africa, because a lot is going in Africa, and on top of that, the sources from where they get their food, like let's say Ukraine or Russia, they're also currently in war, and because of that, they don't have food. And in general, there are very remote areas in Africa where there is like very less than what is needed. So I think that hunger is like something is a problem which needs to be solved. And on an ethical level, like, and we are always taught that you need to try and make sure that whoever your neighbor is or whoever it is, they don't sleep hungry, right? We have been always taught when growing up, so that is something that I personally would try to solve if I had.
दैट्स अ वेरी गुड आइडिया आई थिंक आई जस्ट वांट टू ऐड कि उसमें ये होता है क्या जो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन और वो सब बोलते हैं
Yes.
राइट उसमें ये होता है कि आई थिंक दे कंसिडर न्यूट्रिशनल फैक्टर ऑफ अ फूड के तुम्हारा कितना न्यूट्रिशन तुम्हें मिलेगा व्हाट वुड बी द कॉस्ट टू गेट दैट सो अगर इट्स लाइक $100 या $100 देन एनीथिंग बिलो दैट इफ यू आर मेकिंग पर हाउस होल्ड मेंबर देन यू
Yeah.
कंसिडर बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन बिकॉज तुम वो उतना फूड प्रोवाइड नहीं कर पाओगे बेसिकली न्यूट्रिशन
But do you
That's
think that
interesting.
money is enough to solve this problem? Because I have heard Elon Musk say that like people point fingers to Elon Musk, right? That you have so much wealth. Why don't you just donate something to UNICEF or let's say any other organization in the world and for this hunger, right? But what he says is that you give me like evidence that you're going to supply food
Yeah,
and everything,
yeah,
right? So do you think that money is enough, or we need other resources as well to?
So that should be there has to be some long-term plan. So hunger is like good cause to solve, but I don't think that's a long-term sustainable problem to solve, because let's say just keep on giving money for food, and so instead of like doing that, why not just
Set
put
up.
that money in growing more food? That's how you will just end the hungers. And make sure that all the resources are being distributed or around the world equally, rather than just like rich people are getting all the resources. So I think reducing the gap between rich and poor, that will automatically will solve the hunger problems.
I think that will solve half of the world's problem.
Exactly. And other problems too, along with the hunger problem.
आई थिंक अभी फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम वो भी है कि एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में उतने रिसोर्सेज लोग नहीं है राइट तो how would you produce stuff? I think
it's
that is
easy.
also a challenge. Like sure, hunger अभी जो existing है उससे तुम like you distribute it, but over in the long run you might have to develop a nice supply chain, right?
Yeah.
Like from start to end.
Yeah. So the problem is like farmers don't get enough money as a profit. The only people who get more money is middlemen. So who is like distributor from farmers to main stores or retailers or whoever's are like big giants like let's say Costco or Walmart. So the middlemen and the main shops get the more profit. But I think if we shift that somehow, if we can make that possible, like directly farmers gets more profit, then they'll have more motivation to grow more and they won't go away. Nowadays like farmers are moving away from there.
If we can just talk about our generation, right? So our like grandfathers and all, they were into farming, but what eventually happened was that there was not that much growth, right? So now if we see our father or let's say ourselves, right, we came out of that agriculture sector and we decided that we'll do something else because we saw that there is no growth in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think सबसे बड़ा problem है because of is like urbanization का. तो because basically people started moving to from let's say rural to urban areas. Migration होने लगा. तो problem ये हो गया कि if you think about it, right, जो अपने पुराने like N-1 N-2 generation like में कैसा था कि अगर डैड फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं या तो फिर उनके किड्स भी करते थे, तो दोज वर काउंटेड एज लाइक फ्री रिसोर्स, लाइक इन दैट सेंस दे आर हेल्पिंग किड्स, वाइफ, एवरीथिंग, राइट. तो अभी क्या हो गया कि माइग्रेशन की वजह से मोर एंड मोर पीपल, स्पेसिफिकली यंग पीपल, आर मूविंग आउट, विच इज हिटिंग द मोस्ट राइट नाउ. सो नाउ इट बिकम कॉस्टली to like farmer alone has to do if he decides to, because जो young generation है they are moving out to urban areas, and I think ये fundamental problem China के अंदर भी हो रहा है. तो basically your cost is going up and up because जो भी घर वाले household वाले जो काम कर रहे थे, they no longer want to work in like agriculture, they want to just go out, work in like regular whatever jobs.
Yeah, but I think it's a technology world. We can so earlier it was like let's say 10 people were working, let's make some technology, then only one person can just grow whole.
वो तो हो ही रहा है, but it's still expensive for them, right?
Yeah, maybe for them.
So you have to come up with a technology which is like I think cheaper at the same time for them to grow.
Technology should be cheaper, and I think government should get involved and they should give some subsidies and all those stuff. I think that's a base, right? Without food.
But what would you choose? Let's say if I give you 100 million, what would you choose? Like
as I think I already answered. I think I will reduce the gap between poor and rich and redistribute the resources in a way that not only rich people gets all the resources. I'm not saying I'm not against rich people. That's okay. If they are rich, that's fine. But the opportunity to get the resources should be equal.
Yeah.
And I think that should be reduced, and that's how you can solve like half the problem.
I think we discussed this, like it's वही है कि inequality solve करना जरूरी नहीं है. Basically you have to basically make sure कि जो poor है they are not below poverty line, they are above the poverty line.
Yes.
As long as rich are getting, obviously they are going to get 10x more richer than like the guys at the bottom who are poor, who are going to only get at 1x. So that's still fine as long as they are above the poverty line. Inequality is not a problem basically. The problem is like the
but inequality should be in control, as I said. Like resources are limited. So in the world, let's say you have 1 ton of wheat crops. So that's okay if richer gets like half of the wheat crops, but other half should at least get to the poor. If they are getting all the 90% of wheat crop, then they only get the 10. So resources are limited. So inequality should be in control when it shouldn't be in a way that okay, it's extreme inequality.
But what I meant is like as long as it's enough, let's say 10% अगर poor को मिल रहा है and that is enough for covering everyone's requirement of food, right? And I think that's still fine. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I meant. So that's the calculation of poverty line. Inequality is fine as long as the poor people are above the poverty line.
Yeah, but what if poor people are not ready to put their efforts to come out of poverty?
Actually that's also a thing.
Like they are not ready to go for school. Let's say they don't want to get educated themselves, and that's also a big problem. So I think changing their mindset also a big challenge that we need to solve.
What about you?
I haven't thought about it. I was the one asking the question.
I don't know.
I think I mentioned last time, but I forgot now. I think we discussed this long time back.
Yeah, I don't know what you said at that time. I think you didn't answer that time. So.
Okay, I'll think about it. Next show we'll cover that part.
Okay.
So what else? Like anything other than? Okay, let me ask you, how frustrated are you guys with this whole H1B thing?
That's a big topic, man. We need whole day. We can keep on going on that topic.
No comments.
No comments. That's the best answer for now.
No, but what do you guys think about this climate change and ocean pollution and nuclear waste and all?
All the man-made.
Would you
bullshit
allocate your resources to help solve these problems? Because these are also like some of the bigger problems that are happening in the world today, which will affect us down the line, if not immediately. But if you think about the generations which are going to come, they are surely going to have a hard time dealing with it.
I think they don't have anything to do, right? They have everything, so let them deal with that. Let them solve that issue.
No, jokes aside. But yeah, I think I was listening to this podcast. वहाँ पे वो बता रहे थे कि how Elon is trying to isolate atmosphere, right? Like अभी problem क्या है कि like land we are still separate as a country or whatever, right? Like water also to a certain extent it's still separate. Like you can still control one contamination of water in one area not to be, like go all the way across the globe. But air में भी ऐसे हो रहा है कि जैसे कि अभी COVID का था, right? तो it passes through air or
you cannot divide
it spreads
air.
through air.
Yeah.
So you are not able to partition air. So what he's trying to do is like send people to Mars, like planning escape from the Earth, right? So have like human inhabit how do I say, a moon or Mars, right? So in that way you are creating three worlds, one Earth, moon and Mars. So you are separating atmosphere.
But that's not a great plan. If you are able to colonize Mars and moon, you can easily solve the problem on Earth, like, right?
But
colonizing Mars.
But how would you separate out atmosphere here?
So that's what I'm saying. If you are able to solve colonizing Mars, where you don't have water, where you don't have atmosphere,
if you can
do
create
that, why you can't do this?
Yeah, that is
so you have that much of power and technology. So why not just solve these also? I mean, not against that you shouldn't go Mars. That's fine. You can go there for tourism purpose, but I mean, you can solve these, right? If you have that much of power in technology and everything, you can solve everything on Earth too. You can change whole climate. I mean, about the climate, if you remember, I think 60s or 70s we were talking, right? Like, there was a big issue of these ozone layers, and scientists early detected that, like, oh, the ozone layer is depleting.
Yeah.
So what we can do? Whole world get together and they just ban, I think CFC. What was this? The AC at that time they were using chlorofluorocarbon. Yeah, they banned that, and I think the ozone layer like improved a lot significantly. Now they don't care about the thing that's already solved. So even like these things, human have like identified the problem and they are trying, and human is capable to solve. I think if they are going in the right direction, they can do anything.
Nobody thinks unless it's a direct problem to them, right? Like climate है, हो रहा है change, because तो impact नहीं कर रहा. Even though it's indirectly impacting, ऐसा नहीं है कि like temperature rising and all. But they are like, it's a minor impact. It's not blocking them in any way, so they don't really want to think about that problem, right? So people take it light.
Yeah, the fun fact about this climate change, so how this actually got started was because of USSR. So when US and Russia was having this
USSR is fine. USSR is not there. It's fine.
USSR की वजह से USSR.
हाँ. So early 90s, 80s or late 80s, US actually launched this satellite where they want to actually spy on Russia, that what they are doing, and they were still building some nuclear or something, blah blah, and they want to take a pictures of Russia, that where are their military base and everything. And they launched this satellite, and they actually took the pictures, and they found that they are building like nuclear stuff and blah blah blah. And later on, right away after a few years, it broke down USSR, and then Russia was like, then the problem was like gone away, like the Cold War between Russia and US was at the end. Now that satellite was like of no use. It was just taking pictures of whole Earth and Earth for years and years. Then few scientists approached government and said like, give us all this information, just make, instead of making it confidential, just make it disclosed to the public. At least give us to the scientific community. We want to actually look at the Earth, because we are taking these 5 pictures in so many years. We want to see like what was before and what is now happening to the Earth. So they initially they refused, but somehow they convinced, and something happened, and then said, okay, let's disclose this all the satellite picture, and they disclosed, and it was shocking that Earth has changed significantly. All these glaciers are melting significantly, and from that point whole these things got started. Okay, we are in the trouble, we should take this seriously. And that was I think early, I think the late 90s, somewhere around that. And that's how we came to know that something is happening to Earth, and we should be serious about it.
Yeah. Nice
और एक अच्छा स्टोरी था ये.
No, but one more thing to add to that point, right? Creating separate atmospheres on, let's say, Moon and Mars, right? But again, the thing that comes into picture is who can afford it.
Yeah.
Right. If, let's say, common people cannot afford it, right? There's no point, right? The common man is the one who is the basic building block of the economy, right? If there is no common man, who is going to work for the rich, right?
But eventually
they can go there, they can do anything.
Eventually they will make it cheap, right? Like abhi to starting mein sure only few people will be able to go, but down the line 100 years after, or maybe 50 years down the line.
But still, Moon and Mars
it will be just like you're buying
but
airplane
it
ticket.
kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because you never know what's going to happen in 50 years, right? If something like COVID can happen in 2020, and they know what impact it can have like on human population, someone out there would be building something which can be like more what do we say, how do we put it, like more dangerous than COVID, right? And it can spread faster than COVID. So we don't have that much time, right?
Right, but atmosphere is one example that I give. Other thing is like you are kind of escaping from climate change or whatever, right? That's gonna happen on Earth. So you have like a alternate place to go. Stay. Yeah,
but still, those planets do not have atmosphere suitable for the human being.
Yeah,
they can
right now they don't. Right now they don't. That's what the
research
and all is. By the way, like I wanted to also ask, apart from this topic, कि अगर एक सॉफ्ट स्किल या कुछ है जो तुम चाहते हो कि तुम्हें सिखाई जाती बचपन में या जब भी, what would that be?
I think public speaking.
Okay.
Because I think one of the things like that happens in Asian countries in general is that when we go to schools and colleges, right, we are scared of asking questions. Because the kind of reaction that we get from the teachers or professors is that they basically will be like, oh, I already told you, like, why can't you understand or whatever, right? So that's why I think people in general from Asia have, like, they don't have this habit of asking questions. But if you see in the Western world, everything is like dependent on asking questions. They always tell you that ask as many questions as you want, and they're always ready to answer, right? So I think that's one of the things, like public speaking is like really important. Let's say whatever stream of work that you are doing, right? There will be some day that you'll have to stand up in a room and talk to 10 people, 20 people, right? Yeah. So that is one of the things I think all the kids should be taught from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. Like I just want to add one thing कि अपना like studies काफ़ी ऐसा था like back then कि at least India में कि I mean basically you have to have an answer for every question. It's not like कि ऐसा नहीं होता था कि अच्छा कोई क्वेश्चन पूछा तो उसका जवाब नहीं भी हो सकता. ऐसा नहीं है कि यू ऑलवेज हैव टू हैव एन आंसर. देयर कुड बी क्वेश्चंस जिसका तुम्हारे पास आंसर नहीं है, बट हमारा जो थियोरी पार्ट और वो सब है दैट ऑलवेज फोकस ऑन गेटिंग एन आंसर. बट मेरे हिसाब से आई वुड से एटलीस्ट फॉर मी इज लाइक जो स्किल सिखाना चाहिए वो लिसनिंग है. क्योंकि we always, again, same thing, like we are just want to respond to everything, right? Like we are not
we don't think before.
We don't think and you just want to respond. That should not be the idea. Sometimes it's you just listen and then consume that info, right? You don't have to respond to everything. और एक चीज़ में मैंने सुना था अभी लाइक बीच में आई वाज इज लाइक 3 things you can think before you answer, right? First उसने बोला था कि always count till 5. If someone is talking to you before responding, just count till 5. So you are not immediately responding. And the other thing is you have to meet 3 conditions before you respond. एक है कि is it true? Is it the truth basically? Are you saying the truth? Like अगर तुम कुछ info या कुछ बता रहे हो, first of all, is it true? Are you kind while you are saying you are not rude? And then the third thing was I forgot the third thing. So kind. Oh, is it necessary? So it's basically, is it true or the truth that you are talking about? Are you kind while you are talking, and is it necessary? If all these 3 answers are like no, then you should not.
Yeah, this is a good skill to have.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's like when someone asks you something or something that you know, right? But like sometimes it happens like unintentionally also you may sound like little bit rude while replying to that answer, and we just like, oh, you don't know this is like very basic, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens to all of us. So I think this
1,000 way to say single thing, right?
Yeah.
Which way you choose, I think that matters.
Yeah.
But I think not soft skill, but I think 2 things that I would strongly not recommend, but I think I would have learned in school was psychology and finances. I think these are really 2 things. I think human behavior is also very important. How other behaves, how you behave, how you respond, how you react. I think these are really basic fundamentals that you need in this world.
Yeah, I think psychology is very important.
Yeah, psychology is really important.
I think I would just add like one thing on psychology is like we are the only species who can change their programming. Like we are not, I mean, we are kind of hardwired, but you can always turn the knobs while nurturing, and you can always learn, unlearn, and then you can change, right? So it's not like we are the only species who can change our biological hard coding or our thinking patterns or whatever, right? Like, so yeah.
That's why we are smart, right? Otherwise, other species would have been dominating the planet.
Yeah.
Think about it. Chimpanzees are. So yeah, this is also interesting. Just struck me. Let's say we are very intelligent in front of chimpanzee, right? Or let's say gorilla, whoever like our closest intelligent species. We think them as a dumb species. Let's say that's another alien world who are way ahead of us.
Yeah.
They must be thinking us as good as like chimpanzee for them, right? This human being, they are just.
I like the way how you didn't say dumb to us, dumb to ourselves. That's good. Yeah.
To that point, what do you guys think about the UFOs, the recent ones that?
Which one?
UFOs.
Oh, the Las Vegas one.
Yeah.
Area 51.
So behind the scene, we are discussing whether we should leave for Dish Dash or not. It's time.
It's time for
But UFO in Las Vegas, I think I don't know. I think we haven't seen yet. Any,
I think we'll
evidence.
discuss hopefully in the next one.
That's a
but
whole
that's a
big
very
topic,
good-
alien
yeah.
world.
Yeah, we should discuss.
And we can continue this gap between alien
This
and
guy,
us.
I don't know if you want to be
You
named
can
right
finish
now,
the
but
story.
yeah, this guy is like has a lot of
you can,
knowledge about
alien.
space and stuff.
You
so
can
we can
finish
talk.
the story that you.
Yeah, you were
Which
saying
one?
that.
The story that you.
You want to continue with the story or you want to take it to the next
aliens?
one?
Aliens would think that we are.
Yeah, exactly. So the gap between us and these guys, like our previous one, we think that if there are some aliens in other world, they must be thinking same as like these humans are just very what we call primitive species. They are very primitive, and they can even do some. So we can control chimpanzees, right? We can put them in a zoo. They can also do same thing to us because we are so primitive compared to them. So they can use us as a zoo animal or something like that. So that's very interesting. But we can continue this topic maybe next time.
अभी सबको बहुत
Yeah. So just to wrap it up and
To be
like.
continued.
just to have a continuation for the next podcast, do you think like AI will help us become more intelligent, or it's like, or it will put us on the path of evolution? So we started from like chimpanzees, and then we have evolutionized, right, till here, and people say that we are at the peak of at our peak of intelligence. So do you guys think that from here our intelligence or the human cognition is going to go down
Good point.
because of the artificial intelligence, or you guys think it will help us to become more intelligent, and let's say if there are aliens out there as powerful as aliens?
Good topic.
So
I think really interesting.
Lot of threads to take on in the next podcast. Maybe we can do one after dinner, but we'll see.
We'll like, subscribe, and
share.
Alright guys, see you. Have a nice day. Have a nice...
thank you everyone for listening us.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Bye.
That's one of the good skills to have.